Carl, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
The Eurozone continues to struggle economically. What's going on?
The Eurozone really hasn't been able to establish good growth going all the way back to the financial crisis. They've had two distinct recessions. They may be on the verge of a third. Among the contributing factors are that government spending continues to be contracted to get their debt under control, and the banking systems there are not very healthy, and so banks are not lending at a time that credit is most needed. In the most recent quarter, growth was at a standstill, and it's touch and go as to whether it will tip over into recession again.
Carl, some fear that Europe is going down the road of Japan. How do you see these two situations as being similar?
So there are some similarities. Unfortunately, the banking system is one commonality. Japanese banks were burdened, as European banks are, by bad loans, a lot of them related to real estate, which turned around very violently in both Japan and in Europe. And in some cases, policymakers were very, very slow to respond, which in Japan's case doomed them to a period of between 10 and 15 years of almost no growth and deflation.
Are there distinctions between the two situations as well?
Hopefully, the major distinction is that European policymakers have the Japanese example to learn from. They need to be much more aggressive in promoting growth through fiscal and monetary policy. They need to be much more aggressive in cleaning up the bad loans on banking so that they can begin to support healthy economic activity. And they certainly need to understand that revitalizing their economies and making them more competitive is the way forward.
So what steps need to be taken to avoid the prolonged malaise that occurred in Japan?
There are two I would identify right away. First of all, the European Central Bank needs to come together behind an aggressive program of quantitative easing of the kind that we did successfully here in the United States. Unfortunately, they've been limited in that by the challenge of getting consensus amongst its governing members, some of whom are doing well and others who are doing poorly. And secondly, the structural reform that some have talked about is very important, making wages and work rules more flexible so that industries in certain countries can get back on track and contribute to growth instead of detracting from it.
Well, Carl, as always, thanks for your time.
Good to be with you.
Thank you for listening. For more insights from our economic research team, visit northerntrust.com/view.